Welcome to this explainer. Now, if you're approaching this from the perspective of a skeptical business investor, and honestly, you absolutely should be, retail distribution deals often look like, well, high overhead, low margin grinds. But today, we are unpacking the strategic playbook for turning the booming UAE retail market into a highly defensible, incredibly lucrative investment. We're zeroing in on the partnership opportunity with Carrefour in the United Arab Emirates. Listen, this isn't just about throwing a product on a shelf somewhere. It's about early integration into a retail infrastructure that offers literally massive revenue growth and market reach. So let's dive into the numbers and the exact strategy behind making this work. To really grasp the scale right out of the gate, we're looking at a grocery market projected to hit a staggering $40 billion by 2025. I mean, the UAE retail grocery sector is an absolute juggernaut. Carrefour, which is operated regionally by the distribution powerhouse Majid Al Futtaim Retail, completely dominates the hypermarket scene here. We're talking over 100 stores across Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the wider region, serving millions of individual shoppers every single day. As an investor, you want to see long-term scalability and deep market penetration, right? Well, these concrete figures validate the explosive demand growth in this sector. When you partner with a giant moving massive volumes like this, your distribution can scale practically overnight.
Here's our strategic roadmap for today. First, the UAE retail opportunity. Second, regulations as a competitive moat. Third, mitigating audit failure risks. Fourth, the execution strategy. And finally, winning dedicated shelf space.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the UAE retail opportunity. The underlying fundamentals of the UAE grocery sector's growth are just undeniable. It's fueled by a rapidly expanding resident population, and on top of that, it's heavily bolstered by surging tourism. What makes this market uniquely scalable for a brand is this incredible demographic cross-section. Sitting prominently in these high-traffic aisles gives you unprecedented reach. You're simultaneously marketing to a super diverse base of expatriates, local citizens, and a constant influx of global tourists. And because Carrefour UAE is operated by Majid Al Futtaim Retail, you're plugging directly into a deeply entrenched distribution powerhouse that knows exactly how to capture this layered demographic. The potential revenue growth here is immense. Historically, successful suppliers have literally seen their revenues multiply through these partnerships.
Moving on to Section 2, regulations as a competitive moat.
Now, skeptical investors often view heavy regulations as a nightmare barrier to entry, but let's totally reframe that perspective. Strict hygiene audits completely redefine the landscape, essentially acting as an economic moat that actively protects your market share. Yeah, thousands of suppliers apply, but so many are locked out simply because they can't pass these stringent checks. When you view hygiene audits not as some annoying compliance test, but as a rigorous filtering mechanism, you realize something huge. Once you're approved, that same high wall protects you from weaker, uncertified competitors who might try to flood the market. It's a competitive barrier to entry working directly in your favor. So, building that fortress around your dedicated shelf space means meeting strict UAE logistics and quality standards right from day one. Your products have absolutely got to align with high-quality consumer demands and comply flawlessly with UAE regulations. We're talking about securing halal certification where applicable, ensuring proper regulatory labeling, and meeting globally recognized food safety standards like HACCP. Furthermore, Carrefour demands a rock-solid track record of on-time deliveries and sufficient stock levels. They prioritize suppliers who can offer a reliable, scalable supply chain simply because it reduces their own operational risks. If you can provide that level of consistency, you cement a long-term relationship that leads straight to national listings and big promotions.
All right, Section 3, mitigating audit failure risks.
Of course, building that moat requires getting past the gatekeepers safely. As investors, our primary concern is always capital loss and, frankly, wasted runway. Carrefour's review teams are incredibly rigorous because they have to be to maintain their reputation for quality and freshness. So we really must ask the critical question. How do we prevent deal-killing rejections during this complex application process? How exactly do we ensure our capital is deployed efficiently without getting shut down at the door?
According to a 40-year veteran in competitive retail, it's quite simple. Failed hygiene checks kill deals. Carrefour audits products flawlessly, especially perishables, because they are fiercely protecting their hard-earned brand reputation. There's just no way they will risk consumer trust on a supplier who cuts corners. Actually, things like approval delays, strict quality audits, and an inability to scale logistics are the most common hurdles that cause otherwise perfectly good suppliers to get completely rejected.
So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. Early capital investment in certifications is not just some mere expense. It is a necessary insurance policy against audit failure. To mitigate the risk of rejection, you absolutely must invest in these certifications and logistics partnerships before you even think about making your pitch. Upfront compliance saves massive amounts of time, builds immediate trust with Carrefour's procurement team, and virtually guarantees audit success. You've got to have the whole shebang ready to go. Your trade license, VAT registration, product certifications, and testing samples must be locked in.
Let's transition into Section 4, the execution strategy.
This perfectly illustrates our two-pronged approach, contrasting an online marketplace entry against direct procurement. For a skeptical investor, starting on the online marketplace at CarrefourUAE.com is an absolute dream. Why? Because it offers a super low-risk proof of concept. It allows for incredibly quick onboarding as a third-party seller, instantly reaches millions online, and most importantly, it generates hard, undeniable sales data. Now contrast that with direct procurement, which is obviously the ultimate goal. Direct procurement targets the head office buying teams at Majid Al Futtaim Retail to secure physical, national shelf placement. That is what delivers the massive long-term ROI. The sheer beauty of this strategy is using the low-risk online phase to guarantee the high-reward physical phase.
This step-by-step land and expand pathway ensures we gather that undeniable validation. Here's how it plays out. Step 1. We certify early, gathering all our specs, pricing, and evidence of reliable logistics into a killer pitch deck. Step 2, we launch on the online marketplace as our proof of concept, where approval can take just days or weeks. Step 3, we leverage that real-world online sales data as our trump card when walking into direct procurement negotiations at the head office. And finally, Step 4, once we're approved for the physical stores, we integrate with their systems, scale those listings nationally, and really get into negotiating margins, slotting, and promotions. It's a highly calculated, totally data-driven approach to retail expansion.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, winning dedicated shelf space.
Look, just getting in the door is only step one. With thousands of suppliers applying, your brand needs totally unique value propositions to stand out in those physical aisles. Right now, Carrefour has a massive strategic push for local and regional sourcing. If your product aligns with local sourcing initiatives or highlights unique values, like sustainability for instance, you drastically improve your odds of scoring dedicated shelf space. Plus, for local SMEs, Carrefour actually offers incredible opportunities, including access to free listing programs and dedicated display spaces. Capitalizing on these exact trends doesn't just secure your spot, it ensures extremely high visibility once you are actually on the store floor.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. In a UAE grocery market moving tens of billions of dollars, fueled by just relentless population and tourism growth, the real risk isn't the cost of compliance. The real risk is opportunity cost. In a market moving billions, can we really afford to let competitors build the first moat? By investing early in certifications and utilizing that online marketplace as a proof of concept, you create a defensible, highly scalable partnership. Missing out on this early integration? Well, that simply means letting someone else capture that immense, long-term ROI.